Hey everyone, this is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews, and I am your literary ambassador. And today on my channel, I have J.L. Raynor, better known as Jason Raynor. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
How you doing?
Fine, how are you?
Good, good, good. I am excited to be here.
Thank you. Tell us about yourself.
So, as you stated, my name is Jason Raynor. I just recently came out with a book titled "I Used to Be Racist," talking about how I was affected by 9/11. I have a copy right here. It's on. Not only I got that little glare from the laptop, but it's not only on my site at jlraynor.com, but it's also on Amazon. Um, when I'm not promoting the book, I am also a part-time actor. I actually just came from Chicago a couple hours ago, involved in a shoot there on a TV show. It's going to be on Fox early next year. I also do a little bit of public speaking. I don't like to tell people that I'm a motivational speaker. I like to say that I'm a change speaker, because one, motivational speaker has been abused and used, and two, I just like seeing that I can make a difference in people's lives, make a change in their life by motivating them about something that they may not have known how to overcome before. So those are my focuses in my life right now. Are we starting over?
Okay, what inspires you to write?
So, in this particular book, what inspired me to write was telling a story that you do not hear very often. One of the motivational speakers who I listen to on YouTube on a regular basis, as many of us do, one of the things he said was that find an issue and try to find a solution to it. And so you'll hear a lot of people who say they used to be white supremacists or they used to be prejudiced towards a certain group prior, mainly black people. And it's always the black and white argument. But my particular book talks about having an issue with another minority, which is people from Middle Eastern descent, and how 9/11 affected the way I view them. And so when I do write, it's generally something where it's current news. As you know, with our current president, he loves talking about people that are different from him and is too ignorant to realize how offensive it is. And so my writing focuses on things that are really current.
Okay. Well, you could talk about your book, show your book, and then tell us about it.
Okay. So in my book, I Used to Be Racist. It's my memoir. Talks about my life growing up. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I was 10 years old when September 11th happened. And just like many people across this nation, I spent the day of and the rest of the week just watching the news. And on the news, they kept on showing the same Middle Eastern people over and over again, blowing things up, shooting AK-47s. And the local news stations in New York suggested that the terrorists are here already. We just don't know who they are. And so at 10 years old, that really messed up my mind. And so anyone who looked like Osama bin Laden or dressed the same way, or even if they didn't dress the same way, but they spoke the same language, I was intimidated by. I want to get the heck away from them. And I feel like that for a long time. I went to the Midwest for college, Bowling Green State University, and I dealt with racism for the first time myself, believe it or not, moving to Ohio. And that started to get me to think how I thought about others.
Okay. Let's talk about the hashtag on your shirt.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So the I used to be is anything that you have overcame in your life that you're proud of, right? So some people will say, I used to be an alcoholic, right? And so they're very proud that they have not had a drink in 15 years,
Gotcha.
okay? Or I used to be overweight, or I used to be racist, right? So that's what it's for. It's the fact that either you've overcame or you want to overcome something and you're brave enough to share it.
All right. When you was writing this book, what did you learn from it?
I learned that it's funny because the I did a lot of research while
Mhm.
writing this book. And so looking at other people's stories, people who either attempted to justify why they felt the way I did, or people who were embarrassed, right,
Mhm.
by the way that they felt in a similar fashion. The research not only included journal articles, but actually speaking to people. And so when I have people who say, I wasn't raised racist, but for whatever reason, when I went on that plane to Atlanta and I just so happened to be sitting next to the guy who was from Saudi Arabia, I was nervous. Sometimes they were brave enough to just talk to them and say, "Hey, how's it going? Or where are you from?" But that was their way of trying to alleviate their stress. And it's
Mhm.
like, even though I didn't say get away from me, I still felt bad because I felt the need to interact with him because I felt
Mhm.
threatened. So that has been my favorite part in regards to coming together with the book, was talking to other people and doing research.
Okay. How long did it take you to write the book?
Including procrastination, it took me 4 years. It should not have taken me that long at all. But sometimes, and I'm sure you can agree with this or you've heard this before, you get in your own head. You really are your worst enemy. And
Mhm.
so there were times when I was writing the book, I'm like, well, this is stupid. I mean, I'm black, right? Why am I going to come out with a book with racist on it? Is anyone going to care about this? And so sometimes I'll put it on pause for a couple months and I get back to it. But then I'm like, you know what? I think I want to apply for this job. And then I forget about it. So I think everyone has those moments where they are, you're your own worst enemy. Honestly, if you can destroy the enemy within, the enemy
Mhm.
outside can't do you no harm.
Mhm.
So, unfortunately, it took me 4 years, but if I had to think about the consistent moments, probably like 15 months.
Okay. How was your book published?
So I attempted to traditionally publish initially, because I thought that when you traditionally publish, the publisher is the one who makes all the money for you. And they're just like, hey, you're an author now, so we're going to make you all this money and sell your book for you. That's not how it works, whether you traditionally publish or independently publish. So I went through a company called Litfire who helps independent authors publish their book. And they have a very interesting way that they do it. So I looked at their stipulations compared to other companies that were similar, and I just ended up choosing them. So it's essentially independently published.
Okay. What do you like to do when you're not writing?
I will. I'll play with my dog a lot. My dog and I will hang out and watch some Netflix. She'll hang out with me. I'll work out. My wife, who I just got married to back in August, will go out and do some things. Acting, of course, I enjoy that so much. Improv. Uh, Improv gets you out of your current situation.
Mhm.
When someone tells you act like a princess in Alaska during a snowstorm, what I mean? Like improv is so like crazy how they do things, but
Mhm.
like you just get into character. So
Mhm.
that's probably one of my favorite things to do is act on the side.
Okay. Congratulations on being a newlywed.
Thank you.
What do you consider to be your best accomplishment thus far?
My best accomplishment thus far. This year has been very interesting. Um, as a whole. And so to pick one would be really, really difficult. Um, But if I had to pick, it would probably be publishing this book. Has honestly been the best personal accomplishment as far as I'm concerned. Getting married was the best thing ever in my entire life, to the love of my life, because I thought I would never find her. But from a personal standpoint, publishing this book, because when I go to book signings, the people who come up to me, and some other authors were looking like, why is she crying? Right? Because I have a lot of people who come up to my table and tell me their personal story of how they didn't like Black people because their parents raised them that way and their siblings are like that, and something happened in their life where they realize this is wrong. Just because you're Black doesn't mean you're gonna rob me or do this to me. Or you get the stories of people who, I've talked to people from the Middle East who, when they read my book, they're like, wow, like I am so happy you wrote this, because I have been accused of being a terrorist really my entire time being in the United States, right? So my accomplishment would definitely be this book, because I've heard so many great stories. I'm looking forward to next year because I'm gonna hear a lot more.
When did you first realize that you wanted to be a writer?
So I've always thought about like writing fiction books. I'm really into stuff like Criminal Minds and serial killers and all of that. And so I figured if I were to write a book, it would be a fiction book. But again, when I did watch that one video that said, if you're going to do something that's going to make a difference, that is where this idea came from. And so initially, the idea came because I work for the prison system. And I was at the academy, and we had to present on a topic where we made a huge change in our life that we were proud of. And so I brought this story up of how 9/11 affected me and how I, overcame it. And this girl said, wow, that sounds like a book. And I wrote a book. So that's how it started.
What's the hardest thing about writing?
The hardest thing about writing, again, is the challenges you put against yourself. Sometimes I'll write something like, this book was going to be a lot longer than it is. I wrote this book for people who don't like to read, if that makes any sense. Because I've bought one of those books that are like 500 pages and I've never finished them, right? And so this book is real simple to read. But what was difficult was I would write 500 words and then delete it, because I'm like, why is this even important? The point is that I want to connect with the audience so that they can think about their own life in relation to what I'm saying. So if I just go on and on and on about something about my life, it's like, okay, Jason, why does this matter? It doesn't, right? So I think that the hardest part was getting to the point. Like, yes, you wrote all these words. That's great. Get to the point, though. And I was focused on a word count, too. And a particular word count that I really, really want to get to. And I did surpass it, but I only surpassed it when someone told me, write until you're done. I asked them, how many words should I have in the book until you're done? Which didn't answer my question, but I understood what she was saying.
And how do you feel about reviews?
Oh, reviews are essential. So far, knock on wood, the reviews I've gotten have been positive. But I do know that eventually, a negative review is going to come. As far as reviews with social media, I don't even know if you consider this a review. Someone will look at your page, go on your website, and they'll say, is this real? Or this is stupid, or something like that. And I'm sure maybe you've gotten that before, where someone didn't even give you a chance. Like, they based it off of racist and Black guy. This is stupid. Did you read my bio?
Yeah.
Did you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So those reviews, I would say, are not helpful. They're not helpful personally, but I think they're necessary because when the real issues happen later on in life, you then are prepared to handle them. So reviews are essential.
Did you have any family support or support, a system or support system when you were writing?
So I actually, the only people that knew that I was writing this book was my mother-in-law and my wife and my wife's aunt. People ask me, they're like, so what did your mom think when you were like this? And I'm like, my mom found out I was like this a month ago. She literally had no idea. I just presented her with the book and said, hey, Ma, read this. This is why I'm driving all over the East Coast, because I'm promoting this book.
Mm-hmm.
So the support was very immediate. And they loved it. They actually did love it. I tried to add a lot of humor and a lot of seriousness all at the same time to make it interesting, and they really did like it. So the support has been great.
And what projects are you working on right now?
So right now I am developing a program titled Let's Talk About Race. This program is geared towards youth, which is going to be a big challenge. I want to just tell you about a couple statistics. The University of Toronto found out that humans in general identify race at the age of 6 months. 6 months, yes. At 6 months, they show a preference of who they want to interact with based on skin tone. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which I just found fascinating when I heard that. And so, on average, parents in general, parents wait until their child is between the age of 10 and 12 to talk about social identity to include race. So, if we're identifying race by 6 months and then parents are waiting a decade to talk about it, it's too late. Now, what was one interesting about parents waiting is that African Americans talk about race a lot earlier than other races, which I'm not surprised by.
Mm-hmm.
But again, even if we do talk to our child at 6 or 7, it's still been 7 years. And they've already been developing
Mm-hmm.
preconceived notions about who else they see. Also, children do three things when it comes to developing their own self, okay? When it comes to school and home,
Mm-hmm.
they do three things. Either they adopt the culture at home and ignore the culture at school.
Mm-hmm.
Either they adopt the culture at school and they ignore the culture at home, or, which a lot do, they code switch. So they'll make you, mom, happy, and they'll make friends at school happy. Okay? So that's why when parents say, you ever hear those stories where the kid went on a racist rant and the parents like, I can't believe my child would do that. That's
Mm-hmm.
just not how I raised him. Yeah, well, you're not with him all the time with who he hangs out with.
Mm-hmm.
And he's making you happy while he's around you.
You.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my program, which is going to be controversial, I want to start talking about race as early as pre-K. And it's not going to be the how violent Christopher Columbus was or lynchings or anything like that. It's going to be things as simple as look at this successful person who's Chinese. Look at this successful person who's black. Look at
Mm-hmm.
this. It'll be more things like that. And so talking about how you're not going to come to conclusions just because someone looks different from you. Different doesn't mean wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. As they get older, the goal is to then dive into more of those uncomfortable things.
Mm-hmm.
Dive into white privilege and other things that kids are not spoken to about at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm working on right now, is developing that program. and it's going to be interesting when I actually present it finally. But that is my main focus right now.
Are you thinking about writing any more books?
Yes. My second book was going to be fiction until I've been enjoying the stories so much from doing book signings with this book that the next one's going to be another, if not memoir, it'll be more of like a research type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, right now when I teach this book, one of the things that I say is, do you know what the cure to racism is? It's being anti-comfort zone, right? That's literally what it is. I had someone who used to be in the prison, who he was identified as a white supremacist, and he got a job at a Mexican restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that the story should stop right there, right? People laugh already once I say that. Um, and so I went to go visit him at his job for work purposes, and he comes out with his apron on with the little Mexican guy on it with the name of the restaurant. Comes out, he has a swastika on his neck, he has the lightning bolts, he has every white supremacist identifier, comes out and says, "Hola, Mr. Raynor." And so that's a funny way of explaining being anti-comfort zone, but
Mm-hmm.
he got to a point where I need money. So if they're gonna hire me, then I'm just gonna take this job. And he started to like them, right? Isn't that interesting? That
Yes.
his own personal values did not get in the way of trying to support himself financially.
Wow. How can readers get in touch with you?
So they can email me. I love emails at jlrtheauthor.com at gmail.com, jlrtheauthor@gmail.com. They can also go to my website at jlraynor theauthor.com, and you can send me an email through there. You can also check out my book there as well. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at jlrtheauthor, and Twitter.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to add before we leave?
I want to thank you for what you do. I am very, very happy to see people who are not giving up on their passion, and especially, as far as us is
Mm-hmm.
concerned,
Mm-hmm.
because when I go around to look for independent bookstores, especially in Black communities, it's unfortunate that a lot of them have closed down. And so when I do see the ones who are open, or I do see the ones who are continuously going on social media and stuff like that, I'm happy to see that. So I want to thank you uh, for just keeping on going. And no matter what happens, no matter how slow you think things are going, please keep doing what you're doing, because you are a wonderful, sweet person. And I hope we can meet face to face one day. So just that's what I want to add. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, this is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading and bye, y'all.